Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Tech Talk Tuesday. I'm Jason.
I'm Zach.
And today we're going to be talking about news, tech tips, and the product of the day. So let's get started.
Apple plans to implement an increase in security involving applications on its iOS 14 update. Users will be able to give or remove apps permissions to track activity across other apps and the web. Facebook has been quite upset about this, as it has been giving Apple a hard time. This move threatens their targeted ads, and Facebook usually makes around $86 billion in targeted ad revenue. Zuckerberg thinks this is less in the interest of the users, like Apple says, but more in the interest of Apple, the company itself.
So it's under the guise of privacy, but Apple is still going to be able to have access to your information, but prevent you, or at least have you give you the ability to decline other apps' privacy concerns. So if you don't want to be tracked on Facebook or Twitter or whatever the case may be, you can turn those off. But Apple would still have that information for themselves.
Correct.
All right. Number 2 today is Jaguar plans to move all of its vehicle fleet to electric cars by 2025. They're hoping to have a net zero carbon emissions by 2039. And their sub-brand Land Rover plans to start moving electric vehicles to around 2024. So got a big push again to get away from fossil fuel vehicles and more towards electric, and we're seeing that kind of sort of across the board from pretty much everybody.
I'm interested to see how it turns out. Sony is being sued for issues with the PS5 controller. A drifting effect has been found. With no input to the controller, a playable character is still able to move, or the car, or whatever you're playing as. The firm taking legal action on this endeavor claims this function compromises the controller's core functionality.
Yeah, it's kind of hard if you're playing a first-person shooter and the controller, even without having to push anything, starts drifting over with your viewpoint. Makes it really difficult to play and aim accurately.
It's definitely a big deal.
I can see that being a problem. All right, Apple's new Macs with their new M1 processor has been targeted by malware already. Approximately 30,000 new Macs with the M1 processors have been targeted by a malware called Silver Sparrow. Apple's currently working on a fix for this, but be aware that they're not sure what it's going to do or what it does, only that it has a self-destruct function, and every device can get a virus or malware on it. It's just a matter of time. That's why you need to keep your definitions up to date, so that way you can keep your stuff from getting attacked. So
right.
keep a lookout for that, for the fix for that soon.
Microsoft is once again removing Adobe Flash Player from Windows operating systems. Adobe Flash is no longer being supported by Adobe, making it a computer vulnerability. As of January 12th, Adobe removed the Flash Player's functionality, so it's just a dead program sitting on the systems at this point. Microsoft tried this in 2019 and failed. They are doing it again. Does not work with Adobe that was manually installed with an installer, but Adobe that was automatically installed by, say, a manufacturer or a computer builder like Dell or HP. Those are being targeted. Anyways, it's recommended to remove this software by the user themselves. Don't necessarily have to wait for Windows to do it for you.
Yeah, so if you guys have a chance, if you aren't familiar with how to use a control panel, then give us a company like ourselves a call. But if you are, then go on to your control panel and delete the app or the programs that you see that are Adobe related. You don't necessarily need them for this Flash Player anymore. Most web browsers already have one built in, so you don't really necessarily need it. You might get a pop-up that comes from Microsoft that says, do you want to install it? That could be legitimate, but just to be safe, I probably would still not click on that one. I'd actually just go onto the control panel and delete it manually. All right, so in the standings of most popular operating systems, macOS has fallen to third place now. Chrome OS has actually come up to 10.8%. That was up from 6.4%. macOS has gone up a little bit as well. It's gone from 6.7 to 7.5. And Windows has dropped a little bit from 85.4 to 80.5. So currently we have Windows operating system is by far the most majority of computers out there run Windows OS. Then Chrome is around 10% and Apple's around 8%.
And us Linux users are still at less than 2%.
All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about our tech tip of the day. Our tech tip today is...
If you end up closing out of your browsers by accident, or you have a bunch of tabs open on there and you close out, mean to close out of one, but you close out of all of them, you can hotkey Control-Shift-T, and your most recent browser, even with all the tabs that were loaded in it, will come right back up.
That's a good little trick. Yeah, Control-Shift-T.
Control-Shift-T.
All right, good to know. All right, so moving on to our product segment. Today we're going to be talking about the differences between full-blown alarm systems to self-install kits and the kind of sort of the differences between them. When it comes to security systems for your home or your business, a lot of instances here recently have come to the point where you're seeing a lot more self-install kits where you just buy a kit like this Wyze system, which has like door and window contacts and cameras and smart bulbs and smart outlets. But when you've got, in a historical sense, when you want an alarm system for your house, you'd have a full-blown panel like this one here, where you'd have, this would be like the main controller. These are still really good if you really want to have an actively monitored system, which means you're constantly being monitored by an alarm company that does that 24/7, 365. And if you are really good for businesses, this is what I would get, as well as some higher end ones. But this gives you the ability to have the main control panel as well as a lot of peripherals. For instance, we have the smoke panels, we have the glass break detector, we have motion detectors. The standard kind of kit for a home would necessarily be like a standard panel, as well as door and window contacts and motion detectors. And then everything else is kind of sort of ancillary you can add on later. But these devices can do a lot. You can control your thermostat from this, you can do smart lighting from this. You can do a lot with these devices, but this device here is the main brain of, if you will. Whereas the self-install kits have moved kind of sort of the control panel to your phone or your tablet, and you're controlling everything from your phone or your tablet, and that's how this kind of sort of operates. So if you are looking for a budget system, these control panels, these self-install kit systems here are very good. They're going to give you a lot of functionality for an inexpensive amount, and if you don't want continuously monitored systems, you don't even have to have a monthly fee. Any of these kind of sort of panels, like your standard traditional systems, would always have a monthly fee if you're going to be actively monitored. That could range from $24 to $60, depending on what all you have on your system, as far as what we've seen from our competitors here. But this system is really nice if you have the budget for it. They're a little bit more expensive, so you're looking probably about $1,000 altogether when you're going to get all the system installed and put together, as well as a monthly fee of around $30 to $60. But these systems are really nice because they also give you the added benefit of being 24/7 monitored, which you could see a benefit there of a 5 to 10% reduction in your insurance premiums. But you'd have to check with your insurance provider for information about that.
As you can see, well, even if these were wired, there wouldn't be wires here right now. But all of these on the table right here are wireless. A lot of the industry is moving that way. It's easier to install, it's easier to maintain, and it's easier to replace stuff once it's gone bad. Those over there are the easiest to install. I mean, you just throw them up and connect them with mainly your phone.
Yeah, you're just going to plug everything up to your phone, download an app, and then kind of sort of start installing it. It walks you through everything. So for a simple system, this actually can be monitored with a monthly fee as well. It's usually around $15 for these kind of guys. But what you're looking at for this system, between this one and this one, is that both will do Wi-Fi. This one does Wi-Fi and cellular, so you can install a cellular module, which will allow you to have two forms of communication. In case one fails, you can still be able to get that signal out to your alarm company. An alarm company can call you and say, "Hey, there's a power outage, or we saw that there's a break-in," whatever the case may be. But these self-install kits, you can only do Wi-Fi. So once you get it installed, you're kind of sort of left with that. So if your Wi-Fi goes down, your system kind of sort of goes down. So there are benefits of both, but we're seeing a lot of companies move more towards this kind of sort of self-install kit, even companies like ADT, Cove, some other places like that, which have these self-install kits, which are really easy to do.
On this, the wirelessness is built into the panel itself, so you wouldn't use your phone like you would over there. You connect all the devices to this, and they all communicate through the main panel.
Correct, and this does have an app as well, where you can actually go through there and still change your temperature on your thermostat. If you have a smart thermostat, you can go in there and set your alarm, turn it off and on. But what we see a lot of these times, these are more for higher end homes or higher end businesses that want a system that's going to be continuously monitored all the time. And then a lot of residential services have gone towards more of just like a self-install kit, which we can install as well, but at least you have the ability of knowing that you're getting a system that's quite a bit less expensive than a standard system. So if you guys have any questions about that, please leave a comment below or send us an email, and we'd be glad to help out with that. And for next week, we're going
to be talking about how to improve your online privacy and offline privacy on your devices and computers.
Awesome. So look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you guys for watching.
Till next time.
Thank you.